Nigerian Air Force airstrike eliminates over 30 terrorists in Kaduna. Pregnant women forced to give birth prematurely during Mangu crisis recount unimaginable ordeal. Naira free fall negatively impacts prices of drugs in Nigeria. On the foreign scene, violence in disputed Sudan-South Sudan border kills 54 persons. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Kaduna, where the air component of Operation Wall Punch has eliminated at least 30 terrorists and kidnappers in an airstrike along Kwiga-Kampanin-Doka axis in Birnin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. The Director, Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapkwet, revealed this in a statement released on Monday in Abuja. Gapkwet said the strike followed intelligence received on the movement of criminals along the axis. He further disclosed that the intel also revealed the same syndicate was responsible for the ambush of troops at Kwanamutua on January 27 this year, as several attacks and abductions of innocent civilians were recorded in Birnin Gwari general area. Gapkwet added that a deliberate and detailed scan revealed a trail of terrorists moving in a convoy of about 15 motorcycles each, with at least 2 armed terrorists. Now, pregnant women who delivered outdoors amid the crisis in Mangu town in Plateau State are sharing their harrowing experiences during the recent ethno-religious conflict that claims the lives of many and caused extensive property damage in the area. Trust TV's Ado Musa tells the story of 3 women who delivered their babies at a time of great unrest. This report.
Numerous pregnant women unexpectedly welcomed their babies earlier than anticipated. In heartfelt conversations with Trust TV, some mothers revealed that the premature birth occurred before the doctor's estimated due date. They attributed the early deliveries to obstetric distress triggered by the alarming sound of gunshots and the pervasive fear stemming from the crisis. Zainab, among these women, vividly recounted giving birth to her baby on the street, capturing the intense moment of seeking safety amid the crisis.
I was still sleeping in the early hours of the morning when I started hearing gunshots. I woke up in confusion. When I came out of the house, I saw hundreds of people, including women and children, running from one direction to the other. My heart started beating, and my stomach also started hurting. I fell down, and before I knew it, I started experiencing labor pains, and the baby was about to come out. Luckily, a woman who was passing by stopped and helped me deliver the baby. Our house has been burnt down. I have not been able to go to the hospital up till this moment. The whole thing started in the morning. People were running helter-skelter for their lives. Everybody in my compound had fled and left me alone. I didn't know what to do due to my condition. Moments later, I started having back and abdominal pain. Unknown to me, it was labor pains. I didn't expect labor to set in because my estimated delivery date had not reached. After some time, I gave birth to the baby and later informed the neighbor on phone that I had given birth. We just found ourselves in crisis in the morning. The whole community was in confusion. I didn't expect labor because it was not yet time. I know if not for this crisis, I would not have given birth in the open. Some of us delivered our babies on the streets, and some even in the mosque, because of the situation we found ourselves in. We have no food to eat as we speak.
Medical experts note that women experiencing preterm birth often face elevated risks of health complications and negative emotions toward their newborns in the initial postnatal months. Despite these challenges, these women are now appealing for medical assistance and additional support to alleviate the impact of the crisis. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Very touching stories there. Now, following alarm raised by local hunters in Imo State on the rising menace of kidnapping for ransom and killings in Okohia Forest of Nekede Obinze and Federal University of Technology Owerri communities of the state, the police in Imo State have launched a massive operation to unseat criminals from their hideouts in a forest across the area. The operation has unearthed disturbing revelations, as Ajibade Praise reports.
I am currently standing at the Okohia Forest. This is the place said to have been hideout of many kidnappers in the state. It was a long walk of about 12 kilometers into the deep forest as the police traced the possible paths of the men of the underworld. Finally, the search yielded the desired result with the unraveling of a gory sight as the operatives led by the Commissioner of Police, Danjuma Aboki, who stormed the forest, made a shocking discovery. Decomposed bodies of persons, male and female, were discovered at various points inside the deep forest. Speaking on the development, Aboki said the command will not relent in its efforts to bring total peace and security in the state.
There was an information that men of underworld, that is the hoodlums, they will kidnap from the town, bring their victims to this forest. They either demand for ransom, either paid or not paid, they kill their victims. Before you and I, we have recovered about 4 corpses this morning. We are going to dominate our operation in this forest.
Shoes, mobile phones, and other belongings of the victims were still at the bizarre location. The president of local hunters in the communities, Hassan Osiamobulu, and some leaders who raised the alarm decried the deadly activities of the criminals. They opined that if appropriate synergy is maintained, total peace and security will be achieved.
These kidnappers that kidnapped those people, brought them here. Even when they collected ransom, they murdered them in their cold blood, which is it's astonishing. That is the reason why I am here. Today is Monday. Ordinarily, I'm a publisher. So I shouldn't have been here. But I have to be here to mobilize my boys to come here. We are here. We are the people, hunters that I just called within how many minutes? We are more than 100 here.
No, we have good synergy with sister agencies, vigilante groups, the hunters. The hunter, this is the president of the hunter. He followed us to this forest. He came with not less than 60 persons. And we policemen were not less than 150 persons. We divided ourselves in different sectors.
That's the situation in Imo State as we speak right now. In line with the core mandate of the Imo State Police Command to eradicate criminal elements from the state, the CP is combing all the forests in the state to ensure that peace is maintained at all costs. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
The current security challenges in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, is witnessing an improvement as the police continues to push back on the operations of kidnapping syndicates in the Federal Capital Territory. 5 recently kidnapped victims who have regained their freedom are speaking to newsmen on their experiences in captivity. Noel Sampson tells us more.
The victims who were kidnapped at different times and at different locations in the FCT described their experience as horrific, adding that no one should be exposed to such dehumanizing treatment.
It was quite an experience, early hours of 9 p.m. or so, where I wasn't really conscious of the time because we were just coming back from work, and then we encountered them on the road and they opened fire. The last thing I remember was that they took my phone and they took me away. But they shot the gunshots they fired actually hit my wife on the neck. She still has it.
I just give all glory to God because as a Christian, all I was doing then, I was not thinking about anything. All I was doing was just prayers because I didn't see myself being killed. We got to a certain point, they started asking us to identify our phone, we should unlock it. Funny enough, the guys were not even able to operate smartphones. So they were asking us to unlock it and switch it off.
So we are praying at the mountain. Around that time 1:30 a.m. we saw a group of Fulani with gun and machetes surrounded us. And they started demanding for money and our handsets. And we surrendered our handsets to them because that's what we have. After which, they started looking for few they can carry and go and leave the rest. And they choose I and this brother and this sister.
Meanwhile, the command has reiterated its commitment to safeguard the life and property of FCT residents.
I wish to inform the general public that several hideous crimes have been prevented by the FCT Police Command without people knowing. The FCT Police Command is always committed and will always be committed to work with you residents of FCT, Federal Capital Territory, to defeat crime and criminality. We all need your cooperation and support by using most of these emergency numbers to report any crime or when you notice any mysterious movements and strange faces within your environment.
The command urged FCT residents to cooperate with the force by availing it of information that will aid its officers in the discharge of their policing duties. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Well, staying in Abuja, stakeholders in the nation's security sector have been speaking on the security measures being proposed by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to tackle the rising insecurity in the nation's capital. One of the proposals is the ban on operations of unmarked taxis and buses within the metropolis as a way of curbing and reducing incidents of one-chance robberies that have surged in recent times. Trust TV's Habibat Ajayi tells us more.
The FCT administration is racing against time to tackle escalating security challenges that have bedeviled the nation's capital in recent months. Security experts say the increasing insecurity in the Federal Capital Territory and its surroundings reflects poorly on the government at the federal level. With the ban on unpainted taxis and buses plying Abuja roads announced last week, FCT residents are questioning this proposal, pointing to the absence of CCTV coverage, stalled light rail projects, and the lack of an effective transportation system. These concerns persist despite the federal government's approval of a tracking system.
I've been in Abuja for so many years. There are some estates, you can never work in Abuja. There are some estates where we say, yes, you know, people use taxi driver. Which they will told you that unpatented, even though with the University of Abuja is among of all these places. If you go ever be estate now, to carry a drop now, somewhere, if you're unpatented, they're not going to allow you enter.
The absence of CCTV cameras, you know, forms more like a gap in terms of having proper coverage of, you know, proper security coverage. To a great extent, we as a country, you know, and our security operatives, particularly Nigerian police, lack the necessary manpower to deal with issues of organized crime in the country. Since the new IG came in, he publicly, you know, asserted to the fact that the Nigerian police was undermanned, and even from certain quarters, we understand that even in the FCTA, the Nigerian police is underarmed. Several officers, especially skilled officers, are engaged in, you know, close protection services rather than dealing with general security concerns.
The National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, have pledged its support and aligned with the federal government and all stakeholders to register both existing and new members in FCT and its environs as a way of curbing insecurity. Meanwhile, representatives of road transport employees, civil society groups and residents are collectively advocating the implementation of robust measures to restructure the nation's capital.
Let them be put together into a database of some sort, and maybe a kind of ID card should be issued to these people so that you don't just register a car and the driver gives the car to another driver who is not a registered transporter, who is not a registered driver in the system. That way, when he will not say he's not aware that his brother or his wife or his sibling used the car to go and commit a crime.
He's supposed to come down to the driver and ask them, what do you people need? how do we incorporated you to this arrangement that we are making? Then the driver would say, like, they're supposed to create a park, a proper park. This one is not a park, proper park for us. And they collect their revenue, you understand me? And they pay some of the people that they needed to pay.
Stakeholders believe that through collective efforts, issues of insecurity will be drastically reduced in the Federal Capital Territory. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Away from security-related matters, the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, has charged newly appointed and elected officials to ensure the development of the state in discharging their duties. The governor stated this during the inauguration of 29 special advisors, 7 permanent secretaries and 27 local government chairmen. He urges the local council chairmen and advisors to prioritize tackling poverty, insecurity, unemployment and avoid self-interest. While charging the new officials to work for the prosperity of the Borno State, Governor Zulum urged them to provide expertise and knowledge on policy development and economic matters relevant to the manifesto of his administration.
In view of this, I wish to join you to live up to the expectation of the government and people of the state, considering the fact that you are professionals in your chosen careers and experienced politicians and bureaucrats, respectively. To the special advisors, you should advise the point of personal interest or that of a section of the state. As special advisors, you are for the whole state and must consider the interests of the state first before any other interest.
Office is aware of the daily depletion of the service due to massive mandatory retirements, and we are happy that His Excellency has given us the green light to work out appropriate, workable and sustainable measures to reach the skill gaps.
Coming these challenges that true leadership emerges. I therefore employ all the chairmen to draw experiences, inspirations, and courage through His Excellency, who despite all the risks, dangers, and threats, have shown remarkable strength, courage, determination, zeal, zest, and enthusiasm to deliver good governance, which has been widely recognized, acknowledged, and appreciated.
And in Rivers State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara says his administration and all contending challenges in the state have been surrendered to God, whom he said will continue to intervene in a manner that will shock the world. The governor made the remark shortly after swearing in the new chief of staff and special advisor at the executive chambers of the government house in Port Harcourt. The report.
Governor Fubara said the purpose of governance is to render services even in the face of difficulties, adding that the appointment serves as evidence that concrete machinery is being put in place to help solve those problems. The governor urged them to see the appointment as a call to duty and enjoined them to rise to the occasion of adding value to governance while demonstrating that they are truly credible men of the state.
Don't use this position to antagonize anybody, even in your localities. I want to appeal to you that you succeed in battle is not because of your power. It's the grace of God. And when God says it will not happen again, wherever you are, it ceases from that moment.
While also urging the newly sworn in to support the government in a way that will promote its image, Governor Fubara warned that there will be consequences should the commissioners who were sworn in last week attempt to work against his administration. The newly sworn in chief of staff and some special advisors thanked the governor for giving them the opportunity to serve the state and pledged to support the administration with their wealth of experience.
Coming back and taking back your position is not for you to use it to destroy my government. Whatever it is you're doing, I'll continue to say it. It's not about me. It's about the things that you can stand and defend.
I will, with due diligence,
give my best in the discharge of my responsibility. I used to be a parliamentarian, but you see now we are servants. So we'll go the way our boss wants. And of course, you know, he's a visionary leader. He's prepared. He came prepared. We'll kill the ground running, and I'm sure before our 1 year in office, Rivers people will be extremely glad that they voted for a man who is experienced, a technocrat, a leader, a humble people's servant.
I believe in the charge of the governor. Governance is not about antagonizing people. Governance is about bringing a new invention and what he will be remembered for. So for me, I will join His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, to make an impact so that me too, in my only two way, will be remembered.
Those sworn in are Ehihe Edison as Chief of Staff, while Darlington Oji, Solomon Abel Eke, Amina Yanasam Fibrithima, Dia Bariene, and Oher Prince were inaugurated as special advisors.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Still to come. Residents call for help as illegal mining takes a toll on their everyday life. Details of this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break. Welcome back to the news. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's take another look at our top stories. Nigerian Air Force airstrike eliminates over 30 terrorists in Kaduna. Pregnant women forced to give birth prematurely during Mangu crisis recount unimaginable ordeal. Now, Nigeria is grappling with the formidable challenge of soaring medicine prices, amplifying the strains on its healthcare system. Pharmacy operators navigating the turbulent waters of exorbitant exchange rates are finding it increasingly difficult to import vital pharmaceutical products, triggering a ripple effect in the nation's health landscape. Between July and September last year, pharmaceutical imports surged to an alarming 81 billion naira. However, beyond these staggering figures lies a difficult reality unfolding in the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Ibrahim Ismail tells us more.
The Naira continues its downturn spiral, reaching an alarming exchange rate of 1,425 Naira against $1 in the black market as of Monday, January 29, 2024. This sharp decline carries profound economic consequences, casting a shadow on the prices of imported goods, particularly essential items like medicines. Caught in the crossfire of this storm is Zayanu, a 30-year-old responsible for a family of 6. The relentless surge in medicine prices, fueled by the soaring exchange rate against the Naira in the black market, has left Zayanu grappling to meet the healthcare needs of his family. As the economic challenges intensify, the daily lives of ordinary Nigerians bear witness to the tangible impact of the currency's freefall. Medicine that we once bought 200 Naira now sell for 500 Naira, while those that were 1,500 are now 4,000 Naira. The escalating cost of drugs are exacerbating the already dire economic conditions in the country. This unfortunate situation is making it increasingly challenging for people to access essential medication, further compounding the difficulties imposed by the economic downturn.
Like I came this morning, my mom was asked to get Alphagan because she's having glaucoma. So when I got to the pharmacy, they said 5,500. And last month I bought it for 4,700. And they are saying it's 5,500 today. So the prices of drugs have gone up. The other day I went to buy a Moxil, Emzor product, and they said 2 cats was
1 antibiotics like that for my head because I'm having typhoid as at then.
The price, I normally buy it for like 1,500 naira, but now I later bought it at the rate of 2,500, which is too high.
When I complain about malaria, they give me at the rate of 1,000. But sometime before, when I go to a local shop, I treat malaria drug at the rate of 2,000 something. So you check the differences, you understand? So that is exactly the difference about the drugs. There are some paracetamol of 17 naira before, now it's 150.
Discussing the volatile exchange rate, economist Yushau Aliyu emphasized the catastrophic impact it is having on the economy.
We have to be mindful of this inflation, because if we continue to demand exchange rate, not for transaction purposes, not for trading purposes, but for safekeeping, we are creating things that will never normalize, no matter what central bank is trying to apply to stabilize the market.
With the naira losing its strength in the black market, citizens heavily rely on imported pharmaceuticals for essential medications. To ensure accessibility to medicines at affordable rates, the federal government needs to champion local production efforts and foster a conducive environment for the growth of pharmaceutical companies. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, a former Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakunle Olomo, and 2 other officers of the State Assembly have been arraigned before a federal high court sitting in Okemosan, Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, over alleged misappropriation of public funds to the tune of 2.5 billion naira. He and others are allegedly responsible to have committed the fraud while he was Speaker of the State House of Assembly in 2022. 18 out of the 26 House of Assembly members signed for his impeachment over alleged high-handedness, gross misconduct, among others. He approached the State High Court to challenge his removal. And on Monday, shortly after the trial entered the dock, the court discovered that the counsel to the anti-graft agency in charge of prosecuting the case were not at hand for the proceeding. Now, the case has been adjourned to 29th of February and 1st of March for hearing. Staying with judicial matters, the trial of the chairman of Ibeto Energy Development Company, Cletus Ibeto, over an alleged 4.8 billion naira fraud was on Monday stalled at the Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja, owing to the return of the case file by the trial judge, Justice Ismaila Ijelu, to the chief judge of the court, Justice Kazim Alogba. Justice Ileju told lawyers that the case could not proceed until the chief judge decides on the various petitions by the defense challenging the jurisdiction of the court to hear the case, as well as the accusation of bias. Last year, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had charged the defendant before the court alongside his companies, Ibeto Energy Development Company and Odo Holdings Limited, on a 10-count charge bordering on allegations of conspiracy, fraud, forgery, and fraudulent use of documents. The judge later adjourned the case indefinitely to wait for the decision of the various petitions written by the defendant. Now, Justice Yang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned a suit by the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, against the federal government to February 8, 2024. In the suit, Kanu accused the federal government of kidnapping him from Kenya and bringing him back to Nigeria for trial. He also wants an order for his release from the Department of State Security Service custody. Kanu asked the court to order the federal government to pay him 50 billion naira as damages in a preliminary objection filed by the federal government and the Attorney General of the Federation. They described the suit as an abuse of the court process, urging the court to dismiss its process. The defendants held that Kanu had filed an earlier suit with similar facts before a federal high court in Umuahia. The trial judge subsequently directed Ejimako to find out if a similar matter was not before a sister court or if a judgment had been delivered in a similar suit. The Oyo State government has continued to receive condolences from public figures who have been trooping to the state following the Bodija explosion that hit Ibadan on January 16, 2024. The latest visitor to the state is the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, to condole with the government and the people of the state over the incident. Here's a report.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, while receiving Obi, thanked the 2023 presidential candidate for identifying with the state at its trying time. Makinde, who expressed his displeasure with the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, whom he said is yet to show empathy for affected residents of the Bodija blast, pledged to widely publish the report on the cause and perpetrators of the blast in Ibadan. He said politics of bitterness will continue to slow the socio-economic growth and development of the country.
I'm particularly grateful because the president called me. You're three musketeers that went for that election. The president has reached out to me. You have reached out to me. But my own party candidate, not even a call or a text message. I mean, I'm saying it openly so that our leaders will know that you have time for politics. You have time for governance, and you have time for humanity. So we want to say thank you so much, sir, and we appreciate this visit.
In his remarks, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi applauded Governor Seyi Makinde over what he described as the prompt response to the blast incident and called him to set up a support facility for the victims while a thorough investigation continues.
We're basically here to pay our condolences to the governor and the good people of Oyo State on the recent bomb blast. To be able to, through him, extend our condolences to the bereaved families and all those who lost their valuable properties and everything. Assure them of our prayers that God will grant all those who lost their life eternal rest and those who lost their assets, the opportunity. Maybe also to thank the governor for his prompt response. That's what governance should be.
5 people were reportedly killed in the blast which rocked Ibadan on the 16th of January 2024.
Now, in Jigawa, Bauchi State, residents are urging both the federal and state governments to offer alternative livelihood options, highlighting the perilous consequences of unregulated mining activities that have resulted in loss of lives in the community. Addressing a recent incident where 4 individuals lost their lives at a mining site, a community leader briefed Trust TV on the distressing development in the community. Adamu Imam concludes the story.
Gudumsewa is an area situated in the suburb of Bauchi metropolis and mostly populated by an agrarian people. According to them, the removal of fuel subsidy compelled them to engage in unregulated mining activities in the area, which has led to the death of 4 people with several others injured. We need government to come and assess the mining site to see if it is safe for artisanal miners to work there, so we don't lose our villages again. If that is done, it will reduce the risks associated with mining operations. Family members of affected victims also share their thoughts, saying the current high cost of living necessitated their resort to mining activities as a means of survival.
We and our children go to the mining site and dig for precious stones. Since the cost of living has shot up, we have no choice. Our husbands cannot afford to foot our bills anymore, leaving us with no choice. After discovering the mine site, our people shifted to mining immediately. I joined them last year, but while working at the site, I got fractured. The proceeds from mining is helping us and our family members, especially some of us that have plenty children.
We caution some of them at the site to be on alert so that if they sense any danger, they can leave immediately. Mining is helping us a lot because some of our people have started reaping the benefit through several means, as those who barely afford food can now do so. At the mine site, operators said at least 100 people go there on daily basis to mine different minerals and transaction with other business communities as a source of income. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the Jigawa state government has sent forth 194 medical students to pursue their medical degrees in India and Cyprus. The ceremony was presided over by the governor of the state, highlighting the state's commitment to nurturing a robust healthcare system for the future. Here's the report.
Out of the 194 students, 117 are females, a strategic move emphasized by the governor. He emphasized the importance of having a significant number of female doctors to cater to the healthcare needs of female patients. The governor noted that government is set to invest more than 30 billion naira in the education of the students, covering tuition, accommodation, and other related expenses. He said the investment reflects the state's dedication to producing well-trained medical professionals that will contribute significantly to the healthcare sector upon their return.
On behalf of the Jigawa State Executive Council and the government of Jigawa State, I want to congratulate the students and the parents. And I want to assure you that Jigawa State government will continue to support you from now up to the end of your educational time. I am sure the kind of struggle we will go through will not be half or even a quarter of what we have gone through. So be rest assured that your education is guaranteed, inshallah.
I would like to thank His Excellency for the contribution that he has been given to the educational sector. During the tenure of His Excellency, during the 8 months period, His Excellency has provided tremendous assistance toward the development of education sector in Jigawa State. By the time when he came into office, he immediately reviewed the scholarship allowance that are given to the student by 100%.
Some of the students and their parents expressed gratitude to the state government for the opportunity and assured of their commitment to their studies to ensure that they succeed.
From our side, we parents and guardians, we have no single word to use in expressing our profound gratitude. Your Excellency, a very big thank you that cannot be quantified. A very big thank you that cannot be measured. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you and protect you.
Your Excellency, the past few months have been incredibly tough for us. Since the outbreak of civil unrest by rebellion forces in Sudan. But since you assumed office on 29th of May 2023, we have developed a renewed sense of hope and optimism. Despite the pressing demand and responsibilities of your exalted office agendas, you have never given up on us.
The event underscores Jigawa State's commitment to the development of human capital and the enhancement of the healthcare in the state.
All right, you're still watching the news on Trust TV. We'll take a quick break. More news stories coming up ahead after the break. Join us again.
Hello and welcome to Creative Lounge on Trust TV. My name is Ahmed Mohammed Bello and I'm going to be taking you through my journey as an artist.
Welcome back to the news. Now, time for us to join Yusuf Akogu for today's latest business update.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu.
In its determination to address the backlog of verified foreign exchange transactions, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has released $500 million to various sectors. This comes barely a week after the bank's short time frame. She therefore urged all participants in the market to play by the rules, stressing that transparency in the market will enable fair determination of exchange rates. A 37-member tripartite committee on national minimum wage will be inaugurated by the federal government on Tuesday. In a statement issued by Director of Information, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Imo State, the inauguration followed approval by President Bola Tinubu. The committee, under the chairmanship of former head of service of the Federation, Bukar Aji, cut across federal government, state government, private sector, and the organized labor. The committee will be, among other things, be saddled with the responsibility of working out a wage structure in line with global best practices. A consortium of dairy processing firms has received $5 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to boost the productivity and sustainability of Nigeria dairy production. Executive Director of Corporate Affairs, WAMCO Nigerian PLC, Ore Fameruwa, in a statement on Monday, say the $5 million grant will fund 5% of consortium's latest project, which is to advance system and sustainable local dairy production in the country. He further explained that the Value for Dairy Consortium, launched in April 2021, is a collaboration of 4 strategic partners with expertise in various agri-related value chains. The private sector consortium has developed a model that represents a pathway towards a self-sufficient, competitive climate, smart and locally managed dairy sector. Drought stress in late growing season impacted yam yield negatively. This has kept the price of the commodity very high. Let's see the price of yam and other food commodities for today. Now to the FX market. The official exchange rate of the Naira has been drifting towards the parallel market level due to the Central Bank of Nigeria's delay in clearing outstanding amounts in forward deals, causing foreign exchange shortage in Nigeria. Let's see how Naira trades against major currencies for today. And now to the equities market. The market performance has been largely driven by increased transactions by institutional and individual Nigerian investors amid optimism that ongoing economic reforms will lead to improved returns. First trading day of the week ended yet again in a positive territory. Let's look at some of the stocks that drives market today. Of course, the big boys are back on the table. Oando PLC, Dangote Cement, Julius Berger recording a remarkable gain there, 9.96%, 9.93%, of course, 9.81% respectively. And this has moved the market to another all-time high again. Yet again, but today, 2.22% again was recorded by the all-share index, and of course, 104,674.67 basis points. Actually, the market ended yet again to the volume of trade 689.92 8 million, value at 25.937 billion in a days of over 15,000 deals. The exchange has among investors called the top trading equities. We have the like of Japan Gold, Transcorp Nigerian PLC, and of course Access Corporation also doing so greatly there on the table, on the market moving segment of the market today yet again. And of course, usually we also have some losers, some stock that did not do well today. On the table today, we have Ikeja Hotel down 10%, Darcom down 10% as well, and of course livestock also down 9.91%. So the highlight of the stock trading as it went down on the trading floor this Monday, 29th of January. Let's see the stock market in Africa and indeed the rest of the world. And finally, in business, crude oil prices gave up an early advance as traders digested the impact of separate attacks in the Middle East that killed U.S. troops in Jordan and hit a fuel tanker in the Red Sea. At the London market, Brent crude sold for $83 per barrel. For the pearl basket, price increased by 2.36%. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akugu.
All right, many thanks for the business update, Yusuf Akogo. Let's take a look at developments on the international scene as the international community is being urged to implement an immediate ceasefire in Gaza to hold the ongoing violence in the occupied territory. Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria, Abdullahi Muhammad Shawes, made the appeal, citing the alarming toll of over 33,000 Palestinians killed so far, predominantly women and children, since the initiation of the conflict on the Strip. The report.
Speaking at the media roundtable organized by the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, the ambassador accused Israel of flagrant disregard for international law and the decisions of the International Court of Justice in the Gaza war. Despite the ICJ's directive to prevent acts of genocide, Israel has persisted in launching attacks in Gaza, resulting in at least 174 deaths and 310 injuries.
The most important issue and urgent issue is the ceasefire, complete ceasefire to stop the carnage against the Palestinian people. It's very important. This is first. Second, of course, the humanitarian aid, to allow the humanitarian aid to enter in a sufficient and appropriate and timely ways, because the Palestinian there is suffering, is starving, then there is a lot of problematic issue, and there is many Palestinian or hundreds of the Palestinians used to be died because of they are starving, because they are because of the disease and many other issues.
Ambassador Chavez emphasized that attributing the conflict solely to the October 7 attack by Hamas is misleading. He highlighted the broader issue of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory and the loss of Palestinian lives that needs urgent attention. Expressing concern over the United States' continued supply of ammunition to Israel, the ambassador called for the enforcement of an immediate ceasefire. He advocated for humanitarian aid deployment to address starvation, the releases of hostages, the establishment of an investigative commission, and the adherence to international law.
6 years ago, it was entrenched in the General Assembly Resolution 181. In this resolution, this is the birth certificate for two states, Palestinian state and Israel itself. Israel succeeded to establish, or the Jewish at that time succeeded to establish this part, or to implement this part of the resolution. But unfortunately, 76 years ago, we did not, or the international community did not allow us so far.
In addition, Chavez emphasized the importance of respecting the two-state solution and called on the global community to act decisively to prevent further Palestinian casualties. The ambassador concluded that Israel's war on Gaza has failed to achieve its objective and diplomatic means were effective in securing the release of hostages.
In other developments, more than 50 people, including women, children, and 2 UN peacekeepers were killed in attacks along South Sudan's border with Sudan. Officials say the deadliest in a spate of incidents since 2021 related to a boundary dispute. Armed young men from South Sudan's Warab state carried out the raids into the neighboring Abuja region on Saturday, according to Police Coach, the information minister, on Monday. Abuja is an oil-rich area that is jointly administered by both South Sudan and Sudan, which have both laid claims to the region. Coach told Reuters that 52 local residents, among them women and children, as well as police officers, were killed during the attacks on Saturday, adding that 64 people have been wounded. A Ghanaian peacekeeper from a United Nations force base in Abuja was killed when its base in the town of Agok was attacked amid the violence, the UN Interim Security Force for Abuja said on Sunday. In further violence, a day later, a second peacekeeper from Pakistan was killed and 4 of his colleagues and a civilian wounded, transporting civilians from the area to a hospital, according to details released on Monday. Well, let's bring you up to speed with some sports now on the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. With just 2 minutes remaining on the time, Cape Verde defeated Mauritania by a penalty kick from Ryan Mendes, securing their second ever Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinal spot, defeating and eliminating the stage rookies in the process. Now, after the goalkeeper took down Gibson Bechimo Tavares, winger Mendes scored the game's only goal from the penalty spot, finishing past Babacar Niasse. Against the 105th ranked team in the world in Abidjan, the Blue Sharks, who finished first in their group, dominated possession and made all 4 of their attempts on goal. At Charles Konan Bani Stadium, Cape Verde will play either South Africa or Morocco in the quarterfinals on Saturday. The host Ivory Coast are currently trailing Senegal in their round of 16 tie. Well, that is the size of our bulletin for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, we encourage you to follow us across our social media platforms to stay in touch with our content and visit our website trusttv.com for the latest. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time tonight and good night.